Damon Albarn, the creative force behind Blur and Gorillaz, has long been hailed as one of the most innovative and versatile musicians of his generation. But behind the experimental music, artistic acclaim, and boundary-pushing projects lies a far more complex and, at times, darker reality than many fans are aware of. Born in London in 1968, Albarn grew up in a bohemian household that encouraged creativity, but also instilled in him a deep sense of emotional fragility. His journey to fame began in the early 1990s as the frontman of Blur, a band that would come to define the Britpop era. While their rivalry with Oasis dominated headlines and thrilled fans, few knew that Damon was silently crumbling under the weight of fame and personal confusion. The pressure to perform, the non-stop touring, and the intense scrutiny from the British press left him emotionally and mentally exhausted. Behind the catchy hooks and cheeky public persona was a young man struggling with identity, creative control, and loneliness. Blur's rise was meteoric, but the success came at a steep emotional cost. During the height of their popularity, Albarn endured a painful and very public breakup with artist Justine Frischmann, the frontwoman of Elastica. The end of that long-term relationship devastated him and deeply influenced Blur's most melancholic and raw album. 13. Songs like No Distance Left to Run weren't just artistic statements, they were windows into Albarn's crumbling mental state. He began turning inward, experimenting with darker themes and more isolated sounds, distancing himself from the bright, satirical pop that had first brought him fame. By the early 2000s, Albarn had transformed once again, this time into the mastermind behind Gorillaz, a virtual band that allowed him to mask himself behind cartoon avatars. While the project was lauded for its creativity and reinvention of the music industry, it also reflected Albarn's growing discomfort with fame and his desire to disappear behind fiction. Through Gorillaz, he was able to process the darker aspects of his personality, his cynicism, his disillusionment, his growing sense that the world was falling apart socially and politically. Behind the digital avatars, Damon wrestled with depression, addiction to work, and a growing sense of artistic isolation. While his public image has often painted him as a brilliant, ever-evolving artist, many of his collaborators have quietly acknowledged that working with Albarn can be emotionally intense, as he's been known to withdraw suddenly or immerse himself in creative obsession to the point of burnout. In recent years, Albarn has opened up more about his past struggles with substance use, mental health, and the disorientation that comes with constant reinvention.
His later works have taken on a
more somber tone, often addressing themes of mortality, nostalgia, and disconnection. Despite continued success, it's clear that Albarn is a man marked by internal conflict and the scars of a life lived at high emotional and artistic cost. The story of Damon Albarn is not just one of musical genius, but of a deeply sensitive artist who has spent decades navigating the blurred lines between identity, fame, and emotional truth. Behind every project, every reinvention, lies a man trying to reconcile his inner darkness with the light he has brought into the world through music.